So let's begin internal audit. And in internal audit, who can be appointed as an internal auditor? Anybody, CA, CMA, or any other professional. Okay, anybody can be appointed by board of directors. And internal audit is compulsory for listed companies. For public companies, unlisted, if paid up capital is more than or equal to 50 crore, turnover more than or equal to 200 crore, loans and borrowings more than or equal to 100 crore, and deposits more than or equal to 25 crore in preceding financial year. So that is a criteria. And private companies, only two criteria: turnover and loans criteria, borrowings criteria, 200 crore and 100 crore. Whereas for public limited companies, capital and deposits criteria is also there, and only a public limited company can accept public deposits. So on that logic, deposits criteria is given for public company. Then what exactly internal auditor will do? What is an internal audit function? Definition: internal auditors is an independent assurance function. Internal audit is an independent assurance function on what and all? Controls, risk management, governance, to enhance organizational objectives. And these internal auditors, they generally perform advisory role or consulting role. For management, whatever consultation they need, internal auditors will be there to assist. And the role is not just limited to financial transaction. Internal auditors will cover operations, they cover laws and regulations, everything. Then objective and scope of internal auditor, monitoring controls, examining financial and operating information, reviewing operations, reviewing compliance, risk management, governance. The scope is decided by management, those charged with the governance. More importantly, audit committee will decide. Audit committee is the one which will involve in every efforts related to audit, internal audit, all that. Next, indicative objectives. What are the objectives of internal auditor? Like already we have seen here, right? What are the objectives? Now detailed explanation. So monitoring of controls, like monitoring through exception reports, all that, and examination of financial and operating information. They will identify reasons for deviations in profit and loss, and review of operating. They review stores management practices, all that. Operating means inventory, production, all that. Then they review compliance with laws and regulations, especially when there is any new tax laws, new accounting standards, all that. Then they also apply risk management. They evaluate management's risk exposure for complex financial transactions. And governance, they assess governance process and accomplishment of the objectives. There is something called management audit. There is something called management audit. So internal audits will be given, some set of internal audits will be given management audit also. Through management audit, they assess governance processes. That's it. Governance means questioning management's judgments, whether a board of director is taking some decision at some point of time in a year, whether the decision making is correct or not in light of the facts and circumstances. That we need to check. That is called governance audit. Then responsibilities of internal auditor: they need to maintain internal control system and safeguard the asset. By the way, they need to ensure effective maintenance of internal control. It's not that they directly maintain it. Okay, management will maintain it, internal auditor will review it predominantly. Then they operate independently from accounting staff. They identify issues and draw attention to deficiencies. They always be informed about business events, policy changes, all that, and they have to be independent. Suppose if at all internal auditors were also assigned with operational activities, sometimes because of cost reasons, companies will also get certain operational responsibilities also. Remember, internal audit responsibilities only reviews. Basically, auditor means review, examination. You should not have any operating responsibilities. If at all internal auditors were given operation roles like risk, compliance, re-engineering, they must communicate limitations to the management, and they cannot assume ownership for those operations which is allocated, and they cannot take decisions. They will assist the management in operational activities, but they won't take any decision. Again, at the end of the day, it is predominantly decided by management. And scope, methodology, periodicity, everything is decided by audit committee or board of directors. Clear? After consultation with internal auditor. This is responsibilities of internal auditor. 3 marks question or 4 marks question. Next, what are various functions and scope of internal auditing? They review internal controls and procedure. Like what they review? They review design of the control, effectiveness of the control, in order to strengthen environment and reduce the risk of fraud, risk of error, all that. Control should be inbuilt and cost effective. Internal auditors will mainly focus on whether the controls are inbuilt, are they cost effective or not. Review limitations, and they ensure consistent use of internal controls, whether the entity designed, implemented. Not only that, they have to consistently apply the control. Next, they have to review custodian and safeguarding of assets. They need to verify physically the assets. They need to review segregation of duties regarding the people who are managing assets, inventory, all that. And they should review controls against losses, theft and negligence, and review control system like credit, data storage, security. You see, all these points are regarding custodianship and safeguarding of assets. And next, Review of compliance with policies, plans and procedures. Ensure compliance with relevant policies, plans and procedures. Examine system of periodic policy reviews. Combine results from reviews and test effectiveness. Point out weaknesses and suggest remedial measures. This is nothing but review of compliances with policies and procedures. Nothing but this is code of conduct, the company code of conduct, bylaws, internal bylaws, manuals, MIS, EAS. All these things internal auditors will review and recommend recommendations. Then review relevance and reliability of information, which may be financial statements, which may be non-financial information, all that. Review information systems for reliability and integrity, systems, data, and examine accuracy of the accounting records, other records. Evaluate usefulness of various reports that are being circulated within the organization, MIS reports, EAS reports, all that. Ensure reporting by exception. So internal auditors, after reviewing all these reports, they will give a report to the management where and all they identified exceptions. Then they need to review organizational structure to ensure that, see, alignment with objectives. Review grouping of activities for managerial control and see that there is a balanced authority. See that there is no particular department dominance and there is no overlapping controls. And check span of the control, unity of command. Specify primary responsibilities in case if a particular activity is given for dual people. Evaluate managerial development process and utilization of resources. See operating standards and norms, like how much is the normal loss percentage fixed by the entity, how much is the scrap percentage maximum can be generated. So like for everything some norms will be decided. Okay, if at all this much unit of material is given, this much output should come. Employees, if these many days they work on a particular thing, this much of output has to come. Like that some norms will be there, standards will be there. See that these standards are set for efficient and economic use of resources. Standards should be identifiable and actionable. Review methods for establishing operating standards. So how are they setting operating standards? What methods they are following? Are they using industry data? Are they using statistical data? All that. Investigate large deviations between actual and standards and identify underutilized resources. Remember, internal audit primary objective is to create value addition to the organization. That's the only reason why internal audits were there. They need to identify lapses, they need to add value addition to the organization. Next, and finally, they need to review how organization is accomplishing goals and objectives. Review whether enterprise goals are clear, achievable, and ensure goals are quantifiable. That's why many companies will have management discussion and analysis. Their targets they will mention. And budgeting is key to such a planning. Okay. Then what are the fundamental principles? Just like stat auditor, these people are also subject to all fundamental principles like independence, integrity, objectivity, confidentiality. Everything is common. So this I'm not covering, okay, which is a simple matter. Then qualities of an internal auditor: he must have a specialized expertise in management controls and solid understanding of accounting financial data, capable of evaluating operational performance and non-monetary controls. They must have a decent knowledge of law, taxation, cost accounting, all that, and they must understand management principle, capable of effective interaction, human behavior, all that, and ensure confidentiality. These are the qualities of an internal auditor. Then finally, performing the internal audit engagement. There are steps in internal audit. First, get the knowledge of the environment, perform the planning, like first design the plan, gather the required information, perform the audit checks, nothing but perform the audit procedures, and reporting of internal auditor issues. Finally, there's a totally 5 steps involved. Okay, understand the entity, plan, procedure, gather the information, perform the procedure, and report it. Okay, any of this step can be asked as a direct question, which is actually easy point. Okay, you can read that later, it is easy. Internal audit report and follow up. Internal audit report. What are the elements of internal audit report? In the recent May 25, this question was asked. In the May 25 exam, this question was asked. Okay, internal audit report, and this as well as what are the stages? These two put together, a 5 marks question came. What are the stages of reporting in internal audit and what are the elements of report? These are the 2 things which are asked. Stages of reporting. Internal auditor can report specific report, assignment wise, or comprehensive report. Now, after each assignment, report summarizes key findings and share with client and management. This is again part of overall report for top management purpose. Comprehensive. Periodically, we will cover all the activities and give a comprehensive. Initially, we will give purchases related observations, sales related observation, inventory observation, fixed asset observation. Like that we give assignment wise reports. Then periodically once in a quarter, like that, comprehensive internal auditors report will be given. So 2 stages of reporting: assignment wise reporting, comprehensive reporting. There are 2 stages. Then what are the reporting internal audit report elements? There will be an overview, objective and scope will be mentioned, statement that they followed standards on internal audit. They mention a fact that they followed internal audit, standard on internal audit, and they will mention executive summary of key findings and relevance. So for all internal auditors report, no, there will be thousands of pages. In big companies, internal auditors report will be thousands of pages. So the management, top management may not have time to read all that. So summary will be prepared, executive summary we call it as, and summary of corrective actions required and whatever management agreed, corresponding management, functional heads, what they agreed, and nature of assurance derived. All this you need to report. And not only reporting, you should also follow up. Okay, and remember, you cannot finalize the report without discussing with the auditee. Auditee means what? That functional head. For example, you're doing audit of purchases, and you cannot report directly purchases matter to those charged with governance directly. First discuss with purchase functions head. Next, final report will be issued within reasonable time frame. Now, principles for issuing internal audit report. Important question, 4 marks. Basis of the report. The based on audit procedures. So what is the basis for the internal audit report? Audit procedures performed, acknowledging controls and risks. And the basis for internal audit report is report must conform with standards on internal audit and the content and freedom. There is no specific format for the internal auditor, so there is a freedom for the auditor, and based on judgment and based on client preferences, auditee preferences, and documentation. Maintain draft copy and final copy. What management plans they agreed, all that you document. Then finally, chief internal auditor has to monitor. Chief internal auditor monitors closure by tracking action plan implementation. Management is responsible for implementation. Follow-up is usually by a action taken report. Report if no action is taken in reasonable time. Review implementation, highlight unimplementable actions. This in the one of the in the November or May 24, somewhere this question was asked, how to follow up on internal audit report. Okay, in the past 3-4 attempts only once it was asked. Next, difference between internal stat audit, which is a very simple concept. Okay, audit trial, you know, in May 24 exam or number 23 exam, that time it was asked once. Okay, either number 23 or May 24 or number 20 May 23 also. In one of this attempt it was asked audit trial question. Okay, audit trial means what? It's a visible record of changes made to the accounting data which is traceable to original source. It includes date and time at which the transaction is recorded, user ID who recorded, what data changed, yes or no, and transaction reference, whether the data has been successfully changed or failed because of the control issues. All that will be recorded in an audit trial, yes or no. This is enabled at software level or captured in underlying database. Application level control. This is an audit trial is an application level control. And further, internal controls for audit trial, you know, this is what they asked for 4 marks. This is what they asked for 4 marks in 23 year or 24 years, somewhere it was asked. IT related controls for in audit trial. In order to make sure audit trial is effective, there must be some controls. What controls? The key controls in audit trial is see that this is enabled and not disabled, and unique user IDs are assigned for all the employees, authorized configuration changes and log records, restrict access to audit trail access, and maintain backup access logs. These are all various controls related to audit trail which an entity has to implement. That's it. Internal audit topic is over. Clear?